All right, so welcome, dear viewers. If anyone's watching this in the hindsight of the future, what you're watching is a game that's arranged through the Gauntlet, which is a community on the internet that gets together and plays a lot of cool tabletop role-playing games, story games, indie games, games in development, games that are not in development, OSR games, all that good jazz and whatnot. What you're watching is the second of a monthly series that I'm doing, running through a bunch of mecha games. Oh, if you want to check out what the Gauntlet does, gauntlet-rpg.com. There's a link down below. They do blogs, they just open up forums, they have a monthly zine, they have a podcast network, and of course they have the Hangouts calendar to which this game is arranged, which is, as I said, part two of a monthly series looking through some in development mecha games. Last month we looked at Armor Austere by Briar Sovereign. Check out the VODs for that. And this month we are doing Hilt and Blade, which is a game about teenage drama amidst fighting giant monsters through the medium of giant mechs and all the stress and metaphor that entails. So before we kind of get into the game, let's kind of introduce the players we'll have, the people you'll be seeing. First off, my name's Leandro. I use he and pronouns. I'm hosting and running this series, and I don't have anything to plug except well, check out this game once it's out for the general public, because I think this game is cool. And I'll say right now, not just because we have I'll say, I'm just saying it's a cool game. Yeah, so I'm gonna go the reverse order of the screen and go backwards alphabetically because I'm saving the best person for last. Sorry, I'm putting so much pressure on you. I'm sorry. Sorry. So yeah, just introduce yourself and pronouns. If you have anything you want to shout out, like anything cool on the internet, do so. You don't have to. If there's anything, just if there's anything. But yeah, start with yourself, Tony.
Okay, yeah, I'm Tony. Yeah, I'm just a player in Gauntlet RPG. I'm really enjoying it. Gauntlet RPG stuff, so you can probably find me through that. And let's see. Oh, and I am he/him pronouns. So, but yeah, looking forward to today's session, and I'll be here for the next two, but not the fourth game, unfortunately.
Well, we'll try to make sure you have damn good time for the next couple of sessions. Next, Robert, please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Rob. I use he/him pronouns, and I've been with the Gauntlet for 2 or 3 years now. Mostly play games at the moment, but I'm probably going to try and get back into GMing at some point soon.
Fab. I'm looking forward to that because I don't think I've ever actually played with you, Robert. So it's always with stuff I've run. So I'm looking forward to seeing the flip side of that. I'm next. Dan, you want to introduce yourself?
Oh, sorry for no webcam. The camera decided to be stupid. I go by Diana Moon Online, she, her, and looking forward to playing some more Leandro games because they're always fun. And I am a story editor for Crazy Maple Studios, so if you like romance visual novels on your phone, go check out Chapters.
God, where did all this pressure come from? Anyway, yeah, check this out. There will be a link below if you want to check out, all that good visual. I should check that out actually. Visual novels. I'm making a note of that for myself. Anyway, last but not the least. Sorry. This is how I GM. I ramble. I'm so sorry, Darren. Please introduce yourself.
That's fine. It's true. My name is Darren. I use he/him pronouns. Yeah, I mean, I am writing this game we are about to play. Spoiler alert, I guess. I don't know when it's going to be done, so that's fine. But you can check it out on my itch.io page. It's agonysonggames.itch.io. Very dramatic, I know, but there it is. Sometimes I post little developer updates about like what I think about things and why I made design decisions I made. I don't do those very often though. So, just haunt the page. You'll see things.
Yeah, definitely. That links down below, and also I'll put a link to your YouTube channel. You got a lot of good stuff there. play other places like games like Spire and Coriolis. Yeah, it's a lot of cool games. I know. Sorry, I see you shaking your head there. But yeah, all right. So before we get into the game itself, I want to talk about safety tools because I want to make sure that everyone's on the same page and that we're playing in a safe and comfortable environment. Because that's the most important part, really. So first off, we have lines and veils. Basically, lines are things that won't show up in the fiction. Like, it won't be crossed at all. Veils are things that can happen in a fiction, but we're not gonna like concentrate on it. Like, it can happen off screen, or as the vernacular goes, we'll throw veil over it. So it can still happen. The camera's not gonna concentrate on it. So I'll remind our players that we do have a tab for lines and veils. I'm not going to shout out on broadcast. Um, Also, we're using script change for this series. It's a tool written by Brebo Sheldon. There's a link in the lines and veils tab, actually, and also I'll put a link down in the YouTube description. Basically, it's a collection of different tools into one, and you'll see in the roll for your party the buttons there are actually like, yeah, that's their script change tool. So basically you have stuff like rewind, which is basically if we're into a scene that, like, people are made uncomfortable of, they can ask to just rewind and we'll start over again. I might ask what's being rewound or why are we rewinding this, but where no one gets the question. Actually, no one gets the question why. Actually, I apologize. No one gets the question if we're rewinding a scene. If it happens. People respect that. We'll try over something else. And people can pause the action as well for at any time, whether for any reason, whether you need a break, or there's an emergency, or you just need to step away for a few minutes, or even just step away overall because, I don't know, maybe a bit more tired than you think. That's completely fine. Like, and also, if you can also pause if the scene is getting intense, like if you're feeling like, it's getting a bit much, you can ask to pause the scene so we can all take a breather and, not get worked up. Again, we're here to enjoy our time together. And fast forward is, as it says there, like if there's like something's gonna happen, like, I don't know, something terrible or bloody or something, you just like, we don't need to focus on, you can ask to fast forward that, and we will just skip ahead and things will happen, but we're not going to linger on them. So that's kind of like our safety tools. So yeah, let's get into Hilton Blade, which, as mentioned, it's a mecha game. It takes its cues on mostly stuff like Neon Genesis Evangelion. It is less about the fighting and more about the emotions, I guess. Like, mechanically speaking, you're not gonna get. It's not a lot about, the the just it's quite stripped back. It's more focused on the interpersonal relationships between our characters, our so-called hilts. Yeah, no heat sinks, no targeting info, no like hit dice or whatever. Not that those aren't cool, but like, sometimes you want to get to the heart and soul of mech games, of mech stories, and sometimes that doesn't involve the tactical mumbo jumbo. But yeah, so that's what the hilt blade is. And just to explain the parts, hilts are the pilots and blades are the mechs. So let's meet our hilts. Let's almost start with the order of the character keeper. So like, just introduce kind of like your character, the pitch for them, and save the relationships for last. And also, yeah, if you want to describe their blade, their mech, and what they can do. So start with yourself, Darren. Tell us about Mars.
Yeah, my character is Mars Viridian. He uses he, him pronouns. Mars is an ace pilot. I'm imagining maybe there was like some sort of like testing, right, as children or whatever. He may have went through to be selected as a hilt and just had a natural aptitude for piloting, machines. So that was like, I think he was just like conditioned for all of that and like brought up to be very good at that. Like that was like refined in him, and I think it's gotten to his head a little bit. I think he's like a very typical ace pilot where he like knows he's very good at it. So nothing like a little bit of stubbornness to help him get through the day. Mars is wears this like iconic leather flight jacket. This is probably like vintage, right? As like this is not really like a piece of clothing that's needed or hasn't been needed in a long time, but it has like the typical fur lining, and it's like fitted, things like that. But with those and with his desperate eyes, right? Because I think part of being an ex-pilot, especially as a teenager, is being like told he's good. So I think he often is looking for like validation in what he does, and he tends to get it. Yeah, and then his blade. His blade is a standard weight, so it's not too bulky, but it's not too like lightweight. Obviously, I'm just going with this picture I put on there. So it looks plated in this very like stereotypical knightly fashion with this like massive like essentially like ponytail. I forget what those are called. They have some name, but it's like hair, right? So it just looks like a massive ponytail of hair coming off of the head unit. And his blade has bright eyes. Oh yeah, plume. I think that is it's just called plume. Yeah, so very long like plume that looks like hair. Probably like some synthetic fiber, right? So it like flows like hair, but it's a little bit stronger. It's got these bright shining eyes when Mars is mounted to his blade and it's like activated, things like that. It's known for being tough and steady, but prideful. And can usually wield any weapon that it picks up or is loaded with.
All right. Sounds like Mars has a lot of insecurity to work through. So we'll get to see that as we play along. Up next on the character keyboard, Tony, tell us about Benjen.
Sure. So Benjen is kind of an outsider in the sense that, he's kind of he's. I'll just describe his physical makeup first. He's wearing a hoodie. He's messy hair. But he's kind of got calmy, like almost sleepy eyes. Where like the fact that he made it as a pilot is very stunning to most of his classmates and just to even his peers, because it just seems like he doesn't really try as hard. So it's kind of a foil in a sense already to Mars. And his name is Benjen Alcott. He is an artist, and I think the relationship with the blade is going to come into effect. So as a hologram artist, and so he works in 3 dimensions, but also like, manipulate all sorts of visual manipulation. And I think one of Hilts, one of Benjen's more like defining things is just that he can come off a little bit, I guess he's not so concerned with those around him, but still being charming somehow. So it's like he just has a magnetism to him because he doesn't really care. And a lot of people care a lot more than him. So it's like, I guess he just has he's already embraced an artist's like persona. Perhaps just because his like, his father or mother or maybe both of them are artists in some way. So he's just taken on some of that culture and just he carries it around him really well. But it also gets him into trouble. Like in school, it gets him in trouble. It gets him in trouble like with authority figures and with his classmates. So he can piss people off just as easily as he can charm them. His blade is a quirky blade that is like very large and heavy in size and stature. Has smaller arms. It is mostly computer, and the reason that it's mostly like processing power. The reason that he was chosen to pilot this particular mech, or the reason that there's an affinity here, I want to say, is because there's like, it's got one of the more unique user interfaces where you have to have a really high spatial awareness just to interact with this computer, because there's so many surfaces and touch pads and it's it's almost like you're drawing while you're commanding this blade, and so it has all these really unique computational abilities. Like it can do technical analysis and assessments of like terrain and battlefields and outcomes. It can run simulations very quickly. It can also like create hologram projections of itself or of other things that it scans, and it's still in the experimental phase, but it can maybe even jump in between and in between holograms. So it's a very cutting edge mech, but I think what makes it strong also makes it very vulnerable, because it's low and slow and it's loud and it's just a bulky computer. So.
Nice. So I'm looking forward to seeing how Benjen deals with with classmates and whatnot. Up next, Robert, tell us about Rain.
Okay, so Rain is Rain is a sort of average looking kid. He's got casual street clothes, but he's got shaggy black hair with a grey streak down one of the side bits, and sort of 1,000-yard stare going on. He came from a colony called Roanoke Station, which was one of the more recent stations to be attacked by the outsiders, and he's one of the few survivors. So he's got like some shell shock from that, and his mech is so sort of almost devilish looking mech. It's got like like long horns coming out to either side, and it's got a sort of long flexible tail at the back that looks kind of sharp. But it's also got a sort of bow type weapon fixed to the right arm. It's a very light mech. It's you can use the bow and as a melee weapon, but it is fixed there, so you can't do much with that hand. And you can also project a shield from the front of the bow, and use his tail to latch onto things. Yeah, that's all there is to say about that.
Cool. And last but not least, Diana, tell us about Carina.
My character's name is Carina de la Cruz. She is Hispanic looking, dark skinned. She tends to wear long sleeves and tights, always covering her arms. But the bright green colors, which kind of goes against like what most people tend to wear because it's a station and everything. Long dark curly hair that seems to cover her eyes a lot, but when you do see her eyes, they look very sad. And that's because she is a psychic adept and she hasn't been part of the normal society in quite some years. She's only showed up in the school in the last year or so, kind of being like an outsider. And yeah, she hasn't made too many friends. She tends to keep to herself. she sometimes talks a little cryptically, so that's probably why she doesn't have too many friends. But she has her past is pretty hidden, except for apparently someone figured it out, or they think they figured it out. And her blade is very feminine looking uh, machine. It looks kind of like the picture, except without for the players without the boobs, because why? Um, sorry. Uh, there, it's a very ethereal looking kind of like tall mech with almost hologram looking kind of wings, but they are functional. So physics, let's pretend it's sci-fi. That they cause her mech to fly. She does have one major gun, kind of snipery, but kind of not. She doesn't tend to like to use it. She rather use her other abilities and her mech's abilities when she has to fight. But she's very adaptive, and her weakness though is because her weakness is that because she's a psychic adept, she's very in tune to her mech and tends to use her abilities through her mech, and that drains her because they haven't figured out the technology. Because I don't think there's very many psychic people around, especially ones that are sane enough to pilot. So, yeah, I think that's about it. She's a little, not that she's anti-fighting, it's just that she believes there's other ways and she can see things, but it's just she's been trained this way. So she fights because she has to, but she doesn't like it.
Well, that makes sense. And as someone who did try to be the cryptic person in high school, I get why she wouldn't have any friends. It's not a way to make friends with people. All right.
Answer the question,
Go on.
Carina. Is Carina like the newest member of the squad? Our squad?
I think, yeah.
Yeah, cool. That was another question.
No, it's fine. Oh, look, if anyone has questions for anyone, like, feel free to ask them. All right, so let's get to those relationships. So, again, wrap around back to you, Mars. Actually, what's your relationship?
Yeah, so I made out with someone a while ago.
All right, going straight for it, huh?
Yeah, the question is who? I mean, if it's a while ago and Carina is the newest, maybe it makes more sense if it's Benjen or Rain.
Yeah, it can be Benjen. I think he's like the kind it would make sense. And then what does it say? Or do we want to contextualize it and as like I was breaking up with someone or something and he did, I don't know. Just
Oh,
like I don't know. Yeah, not to
Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah, that's interesting. And I'm fine with leaving it like that. Like, let's find out if you want to. Let's find out later, like why that even happens, because like, that says a lot about like our relationship as like squad mates and potentially friends. And then it's like, why did we make out? And then my question is going to be, why haven't we been making out?
right.
So we both get a link from that.
And it plays into the self-centeredness that I was talking about.
Oh yeah. Just grab for everyone else. You don't have to have that. That it says there in the first episode frame a scene. You don't have to do it this session because off broadcast we got into a lot of tangents, mostly about YA fiction and other mech stuff. So I don't know if we have the time to have all this frames. So don't worry, you don't have to have a frame. It's more like I get a feeling it is kind of more like just that's a suggestion for a scene to read the frame as well, it's an incentive for sure. If you want to do it, yeah, definitely get a link. Yeah, all right. So we have not made out in a while, and Mars, you're very curious as to why. All right. So speaking of Benjen, your relationship.
I think probably Benjen might even be taking social cues from Carina, and that he's realizing that like she has I don't know. So I'm realizing like the like having something to hide is like a good thing. So I don't know. Tell me if this is even working, but maybe Benjen is just like I don't know, he's playing down some of his past stuff, past I don't know, accolades or something. Like maybe he won something, but he just doesn't talk about it. I'm not sure.
I like
Yeah.
that. I think it's kind of hilarious that he would be taking his cues from her.
Right,
like,
right.
like she's not purposely being antisocial. It's just the way she is. So I think that'd be really funny. I don't think she really noticed it yet.
Okay.
But yeah, I like that.
And we don't do a link until we do that scene, until we frame
No,
it.
you just get an extra link when you do that scene, but you get a link now.
So both of us. Okay.
Please frame a scene to show you're better at the social interaction than them. Okay. Okay. What's an idea
Better
for
at
that?
being awkward or better at being like quiet or non. I don't know. How did you put it? You just kind of like.
It sounds like it might be evasive in this case, right? So you're talking about like hiding stuff.
Yeah, at least.
Yeah, that would work. Like she is a little evasive about when people are like when people who decide to talk to her, it's like, so what biome did you come from? It's like, oh, there, like kind of thing.
Mhm.
Nice. Well, yeah. Well, we'll play to find out anyway.
Mhm.
With these scenes. All right. So, Rain, your relationship.
So my relationship is someone once saved your life. They gain a link in the first episode, frame a scene to ask them why they saved you.
Right. So this could be just like, yeah, what even during, when we were fighting as blades, because obviously we're not going to start with you all not having fought any outsiders before, but yeah. Do you have an idea on who it would be?
So the obvious one would be Mars because he's the hotshot pilot. I was also thinking of Carina, like maybe didn't save me in the mech, but like we were both in the same situation, and she helped me out.
Question. So the Roanoke Station attack that you have in your notes, how young were you when that happened?
I haven't decided. Could be young, like could have been years ago.
Okay, because if we want to play that up, it could have been from that. Like I was the one that saved you, and you don't realize that until I suddenly show up again.
Okay.
And maybe you haven't just gotten around to asking like me about it.
Cool.
Interesting. Yeah, and finally, Karina, your relationship.
So my my relationship is someone's seen through your invented past and realized it's all lies. They gain a link. In the first episode, frame a scene to let them call you out on your lies. I think it'd be fun if Mars did that.
Yeah, super into it. I think Mars probably loves calling people out, right? As a way to like demonstrate superiority. God, wow. I'm slowly starting to hate my own character.
No, it's what you do before you break out with them.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, maybe I got the hots for Carina. I'm into it.
Wow, we're ready. We're just. Oh my god! All right, so Mars, you get a link, and yes, and Benjen, you also get a link because Mars's relationship is both of you get a link. So, oh, poor Rain. I guess it makes sense. Okay, so let's frame this opening scene, and yes, we will probably start with homeroom. Oh, for anyone watching this, we already did setting creation off broadcast, but the broad strokes is We live in a space station, which doesn't have a name. I'll just name it right now. Palladium Station. There we go. Let's reuse some names from Armor Estir. Palladium Station. It's a space station, but you all live in like island biomes inside the space station as you go to school. There are these imminent threats called outsiders. They're strange eldritch beings that have come to eat the laws of physics, reality, space, and time. They've already done that with other places. They've eaten the gravity. And you are part of this paramilitary organization, the Garden, has been called upon to protect humanity from these threats. And you do so on these blades made from the core of a planet. So that's cool and in no way messed up. Okay, so I'm going to. We've established that you go to school in a city in a train, but do you all get on the train at the same time? What I'm saying is, do you all get to school at the same time, or do people like take their time?
Yeah, I
Benjen
mean,
would be late. Sorry, go ahead.
oh, I was gonna say, I'm into that. I think there's probably just like one train, right, to our biome, maybe.
Yeah. So yeah, so maybe that you're all in the same
Maybe
compartment.
there's a special compartment just for hilts. Because
Yeah.
like otherwise, it for safety. We don't know if it's for the normal people's safety or for the hilt safety, but that's what they claim.
Yeah. Do you think then that in your special ed compartment, do you think it's special in the sense that, not to say you're pampered, but you're taken care of, or is it just that you're away from the rest of the?
I don't even think there's seats. I think we have to stand and like hold on.
They might even be playing videos and just like having like orientation just to remind us of certain like procedures and protocols. I don't know, like just over the speakers or just on the walls.
Yeah, propaganda fit. So okay, so let's start there because I'm interested on the four of you all stuck together in a boxy room with nothing but propaganda around you. I'm gonna ask each of you what your demeanor is in this morning as you all head up to school. Go over to the card keeper. So Mars, how are you feeling?
I'm feeling restless because it's been a while since we've fought an imminent threat, since we fought an outsider. So I think you see Mars like holding on with like one foot crossed in front of the other and like his backpack hanging off of one shoulder. I think just like maybe staring up at the ceiling. And I think probably in a way like Mars is probably very open about these expressions, right? Like, so there's nothing like hidden here. Like, I think probably it's very obvious that Mars is restless.
All right. What about you, Benjen?
Yeah, I think Benjen is like just like I guess he's holding on to his backpack like straps like this and just I mean he's kind of glancing around at the others, but at the same time he's like playing with the ebb and flow of the train and just making sure that like his feet are planted, and then when the train like speeds up and slows down, he's like trying not to go flying and hurt himself because he's not holding on, but he's also like taking the risk of that happening. So he's, I guess, yeah, entertaining himself and yet maybe the expense of everybody else, because if he gets hurt, that's not good. And just, I guess, also just kind of like looking around, trying to like, I don't know, just trying to orient himself to those around him. Like he's curious, but he's also not necessarily making conversation either.
All right. And yourself, Rain.
So I think Rain is sort of just is trying to just hold on and to the whatever they if it's like the leather straps or whatever they have, and just stay upright. But it's clear that he's exhausted, hasn't had much sleep, and is just like his eyes sort of close every now and then, and he scares himself awake, sort of.
Aw. And Karina.
Karina's made a habit of taking like a corner, usually where they leave a couple of random cargo, because why not utilize the space the rest of the time? And she's like sitting on one of the like cargo boxes, and she's like cross-legged. And this is the only time you probably see, other than in no, yeah, this is like probably the only time you ever see Karina slightly less guarded, like slightly more relaxed, but because there's no other people watching other than you guys. But at the same time, um, she's still not like she's not like Mars, where like everything's expression, like you could see like all the thoughts and everything. And I think, yeah, she's just leaning back with her eyes closed. But it's in a way where it's not like the like don't bother me kind of way. It's just like, yeah, I'm just in my own little world.
All right, I think that's a good setup. We are at the top of the hour, so I'll say we'll take a second break. It's been sitting around for an hour. Say 5 minutes this time, and then I'll come back. I'll add a little detail to the scene, and then you tell me how you all want to talk to each other because you're all stuck in this room for a bit. All right, so 5 minutes. BRB. Is that going to be one of the GM moves? Force us to converse.
Yeah. The GM principle: lock doors, make them talk.
And
No,
I didn't suggest the box to trap you all in.
I know. No, that's good. That's interesting. The train is interesting. I never think about like commutes, but yeah, that's such a good space because yeah, it's going to be like 10, 15, 30 minutes, right? Where
Yeah.
like we either have to ignore each other or as like people who are forced to be together all the time often do, they're just going to talk about something.
Yeah.
I think that's really good.
Yeah, I think it's just for this setting because it's because there's trains. It's not like anyone can just take the bus.
Mhm. Yeah, that's interesting. This is a really cool setting. There's a lot of like, yeah, I think space stations in general are really good because there's more rules, right? Because you have to like, society can't just go about doing things. There's like specific ways and times things have to be done to like make sure things, ecologies don't collapse.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah, because like you create. It's not like a planet where you just found it. And you have to conform to their rules. You made this station. You make rules. Therefore, it's a lot more responsibility. Lots more to look after. Lots more to lose.
Yeah, I'll be real interested to see when we get to our first traveler.
Yeah, you mean outsider?
Yeah, sorry, outsider.
No, that's fine.
I've had like 2 or 3 games in a row where people pick traveler, so like traveler's almost like default for me. But yeah, outsider. I was so happy we didn't get traveler for this game. I was like, God, please let it be something else. Outsider. I'm usually really bad. I'll be like the parent. I'll like we'll name everything, and then I'll be like pilots and mechs and paramilitary and imminent travel or imminent threats. God, see, imminent travel.
Yeah.
So I try to be really good about like use the words that I made up for my own game. I used to be really bad about hilt and blade, but that's gotten more normal now.
I mean, yeah, I guess there's a difference between writing these down. It's like, all right, these are the terms for these mechs and whatnot, and then having to present that to other people. I guess that's probably like the biggest.
Yeah, because even in like the blurb that I put on Gauntlet Hangouts, like my kind of default go-to, here's what this game is about. I still try not to say mech, right? They're like giant robot-sized weapons, right? So I'm trying to be like very clear that like, yes, these are basically Avas and angels, but I'm gonna call them something else. Make it more engaging. Hopefully people name things themselves.
Yeah. Right. I'm actually glad to be putting this in between like Armruster and Beam Saber because like those are. I mean, look, Beam Saber seems cool. I've watched one.
Beam Saber's really cool.
Yeah, you played it. Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's really cool. But I mean, it's Forged in the Dark, so there's tons of moving. And Austin, who wrote the game or was writing the game, they added like more systems to it, right? So it's even more like modular.
Yeah. Looking forward to that anyway. Just curious because I've heard so much about that game.
It's really good. It's really good.
Yeah, I picked the Beam Saber off the HIO, I think yesterday actually. And I've also been reading through Lancer, just because I think that'll probably work better as an introduction to sort of more narrative style gaming for my D&D group. So
for sure, yeah. Yeah, and that especially Forged in the Dark, if you're thinking that one, the Lancer definitely too, because it has enough of those like mechanical bits, I think, where it's easier for someone coming from a trad system to grasp onto it, right? Sometimes I think with PBTA and stuff, it's like, what? How? What?
Isn't it very limited just having this small group of moves to do things with?
Right.
No, not at all.
No, there's actually so much you can do in between and with those moves.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's interesting. It's interesting. I have to flip your mindset, right? Because it's like, well, I have 15 skills. I can do anything. And it's like, what? Now I only have 9 very specific moves with the triggers. I was like, oh, hold on. Hold on.
Yeah.
Just as like there's only certain times you trigger a perception roll. There's only certain times will trigger discern realities.
Yeah, I don't think I played much. I got into this hobby somehow avoiding playing trad games. And I just went straight to Dungeon Worlds, and I never the one time I played a trad game was, I think, Lowell put up the Witcher RPG.
Oh
That's
yeah.
and it was oh wow, that requires a lot of skills and dice rolling. Thank God we had Roll20, because having to roll 4 dice just to determine, all right, do you hit? Do you beat this opponent's dice? All right, okay. So did you crit? All right, roll again so you can protect this crit chart. Okay, now roll which body part you're hitting, and,
Yeah.
and then roll your damage. It's like, all right, okay.
Yeah, I started with D&D, and I was like, immediately, I was like, oh, there has to be a better way to do this collaborative storytelling. It's funny.
Started with like D&D and like Star Wars D6, and like I was very young playing that, but I thought it was I still think they have their merits, but I understand where people are coming from, obviously, but like the majority of my gaming like has to be this like new like indie story game style. It's just too much to get people on board with sometimes. Like you have to like read rule books like for extended periods of time. Multiple people have to read rule books.
Yeah, I think there's like a different thing too. Like at D&D, I think like 5e. I see. 5e, I think Incorp really wants to push more of that storytelling, emergent storytelling stuff, and I think you can do it if like you have the player buy-in and you have the DM who's like got that. But I think what it really wants to do is the like tactical battles, right? Like, and that's a whole different game, you know. So I still play D&D with some people, but it's like we're really not role playing anything. We're moving pieces around a board, you know.
The most role playing I've got out of D&D is putting on an accent while talking in character.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, sorry, I had to go on my phone because my PC decided to not, like, the keyboard stopped working, the headphones stopped working. So I'm like, okay, I'm just going to full restart this PC.
Okay.
So, sorry about that.
No worries. It happens. All right. So I'm thinking, like, unless you roll like the opposite of lions, which is roll poorly, I don't think we're gonna see an outsider threat. We'll see. Let's see how y'all roll. But yeah. So right now we are kind of in the interpersonal phase. So there's like, so we're just gonna concentrate on the interpersonal moves. You know, I'm not gonna go through all of them, but basically, it is just about conversing with people, talking to people, and trying to connect with people. It's all about interacting with other people. Okay, so to recap, Lars, you're restless. Benjen, you're cool. Rain, you're sleepy. And Carina, you're guarded. Okay, and in this box, in the train. And I think you mentioned like maybe there's some videos of like orientation stuff that probably stuff you already know, like here's the protocol for when a threat comes in, etc., etc. But I think every now and then it cuts to like news broadcasts, and there's one that just popped up. The most recent one is like from a morning show broadcaster. Let's name her like Violet Sky, and she's talking like Palladium Station is benefiting from the recent outsider threat taken down by the noble blades of the garden. And it's all about talking about how we're learning so much from these outsider threats, so long as the blades of the garden keep us safe. And they're not gonna. Yeah, I don't think. Okay, so this do they name you folks, as in the Hilts themselves, or I'm guessing like I think so, because like people in school would know. I think what you do, the teachers would know. I mean, if you the people who work in your town go to the same school you do, and they see you bundled off to a special box, Christ, special box. Yeah, I think they know. So yeah, so I think that's kind of like that's what you hear in these like in between these videos, yeah, some bits from the outside.
I think Mars notices Rain like falling in and out of sleep, right? Rain, why aren't you sleeping?
I just wake up too early and then I can't get to sleep again.
Oh, still? I thought you. It's been a while, right? I thought you would have been able to sleep by now.
Just it just comes and goes. Probably because we had a fight recently.
God, it feels like forever ago, though. I'm ready to get back out there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Why?
that's what we do, Carina. It's our job. That's why we're here.
That's not all we do. I mean, they make us go to school.
Yeah, what a waste of time, right?
Is it though?
But when is it?
I think
Go
my
ahead.
teacher for applied physics is pretty cute. So there's that.
God, okay, we get it. You're in applied physics. God. Well, you don't have to do that. We just, minimum credits. We graduate.
You think we'll survive that long?
I mean, I will, Rain. I mean, maybe if you got more sleep, you would too.
No, it's either Rain's problem, and I was like sketching this whole time, and I like turn it. This is me showing out of character. This is me showing how much of a dick I can be, but like it's a picture of Rain, and it shows like the the last outsider like kind of over him while he's like sleeping and waking up. It's like I couldn't imagine what's possibly bugging him. It's like on like a phone tablet thing.
Mars will stifle a laugh.
You've gotten better, but I don't think that's how it looked last time.
Yeah, I guess you're right. I could work on that.
Yeah,
Colors.
laugh it up. I'm gonna go to the opposite side of the train from him.
Out of character, it amuses me. In character, Karina's like you're all dicks. But yeah.
It sounds like a lot of people are suddenly getting introspective. I'm
just like correcting my drawing. Like,
Sorry,
Right.
Tony,
Yeah.
can you say that again?
Sorry.
Yeah, no, not so much introspective. I think I might be the one that's not so introspective. I'm like, is this any better? And I like draw another kind of like rendering of the outsider like monster. So I'm not really getting the hint that was mean. For sure.
Okay, who is getting?
Sorry, go ahead. I'm trying.
It sounds like Rain. At least you're getting introspective and like.
Yeah, Rain is just thinking that for at least for Mars and Benjen, they've got no idea what it's like to experience an outsider attack up close, like on the ground, not in a blade.
All right. So okay, yeah, it sounds like you're getting introspective. So Roll plus super ego. When you narrate how you're feeling or responding internally to a situation, which is definitely your squad mates, yeah. Just see, this is what Giant Mex does to you. It insulates you. The link for roll for party is in the interpersonal moves.
Okay.
Oh, this gecko must be savage and stand-up comedy. It's precisely witty.
Personal moves.
Yep.
Oh yeah, there is. So it's 2d6 plus super ego.
Yep.
Okay.
But you have one on, so.
Yeah. Green. 2 and rain.
Oh, just over the line.
So 7.
All right. So on a 7 to 9, you'll strain a level or tell someone what's going on. You might not get any clarity. You might start feel better to rely on others. So yeah, you can choose to strain a level, which means that whenever you roll on that level, while it's strained, you roll at a disadvantage, or you open up. Yeah, it's a hard choice, isn't it?
So open up that basically you really
Okay.
You better wish that you're never in that position.
Well, we got blades now, right? Like, you're not going to be in that position ever again either.
But if you lost your blade, you don't.
Yeah.
Do you think you can fight?
I mean, I'll just get another one, right?
And Carina just shakes her head like, oh, if it was only that simple, kind of thing. And she mutters something under her breath, like almost as a prediction of losing like the plume of your knight is gonna be singed off soon, anyways. So.
Yeah, well, what about you, Carina? What? Because you're like psychic, where you can just like blast them away or whatever. I guess Carina doesn't need a blade.
It helps though. It so much helps.
Yeah, well, it helps me too, right? I thought we were just joking around. What's going on? What's happening with us?
Yeah, I feel like I need a blade. Like, I didn't need it before, but as soon as you get in there and you realize what they can do, it's like, how could you ever go back, right? Isn't it so great? I mean, the feeling when you're piloting that thing.
I'm not here to have fun.
That's fair. I mean, they didn't really give me a choice. They kind of told me that I had to, but I figure I might as well make the best of it.
Do we, as a player level, do we talk about, or do our Hilts talk about like how and why we got selected often? Or are we just like, here, we're a squad?
It's up to you. Do you think you're willing to share all that to each other?
Carina never does, but she'll randomly say like some shit like, oh, well, this was my training, which would be completely different than everybody else's. But but she doesn't ever talk about it. Like, yeah.
Yeah, I'm into that. I like that idea that like maybe we don't, and we talk about the training we do now and we talk about school maybe, but we don't really talk about before. I mean, I think that's impacting Mars right now, as you know, we're talking about Rain being attacked and um, character names.
Benjen.
Benjen, thank you. Benjen not having a choice, and yeah, Carina having this super secret psychic training, whereas Mars was like, why wouldn't I be? I think Mars is having a moment where like everyone's talking around him, and he's thinking like, shit, people aren't just like, I thought we were all like born for this.
But that just sounds like you're getting introspective.
Yes, absolutely. Y'all are giving me some thoughts.
Aw. Also, feel free to call out if moves are being activated because you're more familiar with these moves than I am.
I got a 6.
Oh, all right. So, okay. So how do you actually? What's that? How you do?
Yeah, I'm also waiting for the computer to load, so I don't have the character keeper open, obviously.
Oh, yeah.
So let me know if I do something to create it, and then someone will have to roll for me.
Okay. No worries. All right. So I think it. I do kind of want to add like a. I think as you're kind of thinking, as the train kind of keeps moving, there's just this kind of feeling is kind of like it's probably universal in the station since the outsiders came. Just like that light, that tingling feeling of light, of just being light on your feet, as if like as if like suddenly it feels like it's easier to take off into the sky. Just mild feeling, you know. It's quite common now since the outsiders came, but you know, you just get a tingle of that Mars as you're trying to sort out your thoughts.
Yeah, nice.
All right. So unless others, I think where did we end up? We ended up with Benjen describing his blade like a surfboard. Yeah, unless you want to keep going, we can end this train scene on this.
Well, he might be immune to introspection if he's fully embracing the surfer. Cool kid.
Okay, yeah, let's get to school then. I think, yeah, you can keep talking. We can extrapolate what happens during this train ride, but I think, yeah, I think the train leaps off. I think the train actually stops at the school. It's nice and because the train was built partially for the paramilitary organization to transport you all, and I think if you all want to frame a scene like in the middle, just to get to, or even at homeroom, that's perfectly fine. Like, if there's any person you want to talk to each other. Like I have some like random images in my head that's happening. Like for some reason, I get the feeling that Benjen has a fan club in school. I don't know why, but he feels like the type who would have a fan club. So that's an idea. But yeah, if you have any scenes you want to frame with between each other, whether before the teacher gets to homeroom or
Yeah, I don't think Benjamin would like the idea of a fan club, but maybe it's just good. Yeah, but I don't. I'm trying to think of something. I think I might like more strategic. I don't know if the sign seating or something, but like I think I might go up to, I might go up to Rain and be like, I guess I'll be like, yeah, sorry about the train thing earlier with the drawing. I guess I was just bored and looking for something to draw. It's just kind of one of the ways I work out my nervous habit, my nervous tics.
Yeah, I mean, you got a talent. You could use it like to make people happy and not be a dick to them.
Yeah, I guess I could. If you're calling, well, actually, you know what? Benjen actually is like, all right, I guess you're right. I should just. The thing is when I draw, I just have to draw what's there. I can't just make shit up. So maybe you could improve your attitude and I draw less things. that piss you off? I don't know.
Well, when I figure out how to improve my attitude, I'll get right on that.
And with that, Benjen is just like kind of rolling his eyes now. I was like, he's introspective. This may be an introspective moment because now he's like, why did I even try?
Yeah, when you went up to Rain, I thought, all right, time for someone to make a connection. But oh my god, okay, all right,
He
fine.
kind of botched it. I mean,
I think you can introspect, and I think actually Rain, because one of the things in the Make a Connection is tell a squad mate who they are, how the world works. I think Rain totally did that. So let's roll Rain's Make a Connection first, and then Benjen, you can get introspective. So Make a Connection is rolling with nothing. Just a straight roll. Wow. So that's a 4. All right. So another tick. You know the drill. I think as you even said it, you feel like it's this weird metaphysical feeling like your words are lifting in the air, as if they're not so much making connections, just cutting straight to Benjen, who is suddenly feeling quite introspective. So why don't you roll that? This is surprisingly quick. I'm shocked.
Because we're getting to the what is it, IT something?
The outsider.
Outsider. Okay, I'm gonna re-roll, and I get a 7. And I'm not adding anything, or am I adding link? I guess it doesn't matter either way.
You could the links. You can spend links. That's the thing with them. You can spend.
In this case,
oh, go on.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, in this case, I didn't have a link with Rain at all, so I figured I'd just take the.
Well, the thing is, you don't have links with like every single. You just have a pool of links.
Okay.
So you can spend a link to bump up your result from like a 7 to 9 to a 10, or you can add weight to a favor. There's links to use while you're in operational, like where you're in a blade. But you can spend a link now to bump that 7 to a 10 plus if you want to.
I'm not really sure what it'll do, so I'll just keep the link for now.
All right. So on a 7 to 9, you can either strain a level or you tell someone what's going on. Yeah, why don't they just cheer up? What? We're only like 30 minutes in already. People are like, what? Okay. So so Benjen, either strain a level or tell Rain what the hell's going on in your head.
It can only go up from here.
Yeah.
We'll just think of it that way.
Yeah. I'll just tell Rain. I'll just tell him like, hey man, like I guess I see demons too, and it's like I'm not immune to fear. I guess I'm just trying to put it out there. So, cut me some slack because I don't know. I guess I'm just gonna open up and be like, yeah, I see demons too. Like it's one of the only things I can draw well. So, like, yeah. I'll just leave it at that and shut up. But I'll let him in that regard and just be like, you know, that's why I can draw it to such level of detail. Like I have those dreams.
Well, I guess what I'm trying to say is, I just wish you'd consider other people.
I was quite the bully there. And I think with that up, Benjen is just going to go and find a chair to sit. That's not far away.
Wow. Yeah. What? This is a fucking school day and a half. Right. Yeah. The other two. What are you two doing?
I was thinking, have a scene with Carina as we're like walking into class or whatever. Mars.
Sure.
Mars is just gonna immediately ask, like, probably after the other two, like, get on their way into the classroom. I just want to lean in and say, so, can you see people's like auras?
It's not the first time people have asked that, because I think a few other people have suspected, and they tend to use it like as insults. And I think Karina's kind of figured out that you're maybe insulting, but at the same time also genuinely curious.
Yeah. I really want to know.
And so in a very deadpan way, Karina's like, yes. But she says it in such a way that you're not 100% sure if she's just messing with you.
Yeah. Okay, so like, what's going on with Benjen and Rain? I'm like testing you. Sideways glances like, yeah, come on, tell me if you can see the auras.
She turns to you, and at this, it's one of the few times I think that she gets a little playful. Thinking, and like she looks at your aura and goes, "Oh, they're dating," and then just walks like a little forward just to, because yeah, it's obvious Mars has a thing for certain people.
Oh, nice. Good. That's super funny.
And she takes her seat, and her seat, like, I forget, did we say it was assigned seating or no? I was in the middle of restarting.
Oh no, I don't think we said it was assigned seating. I think you all
Okay.
Anyway, but
So yeah, so instead of like sitting in the back, she actually sits in front because it's less likely people will talk to her that way. Because then otherwise you get the attention of the teacher. So she kind of sits in front, and surprisingly enough, there's not many people sitting in front because they don't want the attention of the teacher. So I don't know if Mars follows.
Yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, I guess I would sit in front because I want to be like, I want to be the first one to be seen when I raise my hand to answer questions.
Oh my god.
So
You're a jock and a geek. This is ridiculous.
I just need a lot of validation, okay? I'll take it from wherever I can get it. I think as I walk in, I follow you. I think I kind of have like big eyes looking between Rain and Benjen. I'm just like, oh my god. And then I'll like settle into the seat. Benjen, you probably catch me like looking over my shoulder at you before the teacher finally starts.
yeah, and I think this is just homeroom. I think at the start, and your teacher, let's give them a name, Miss Crawford. Yeah, I don't think I'm actually. What? I'll ask y'all because you're the Hilts. What's kind of like the How does the school feel about you Hilts? Because I think we've had it. I've kind of pushed the idea that you're used as propaganda for Palladium Station, but what do you think is like the general feeling? Like obviously we'll get to like individual NPCs when they come up, but like how what do you think the school feels about you and how do you feel about it? I'm gonna start at the opposite end of the character keeper. Ask like Carina, what do you think the school thinks about you and like how do you feel about that?
I feel like the administration knows like Karina's circumstances, and so majority of them are afraid of me and do not like me, like the teachers and the administration. They kind of give me a wide berth, but at the same time I know I can't come to them with problems because they just don't want to deal with it. Overall though, I think they just like and then the students is just like, yeah, this is a new person, an outsider, who's weird. And so it's like typical high school. Some don't care, some are interested, and others are like, oh, here's someone to tease, kind of thing. So, yeah. But I think the major part is that the administration, they just, yeah, either they're afraid of me or they're afraid I'm going to retaliate in some way, but they don't do anything to make special accommodations.
All right. And Rain, how about you?
So are we talking what the students think of me or the teachers or
A bit of both.
Okay, so I think the students like because I'm so closed off from pretty much everybody. They're always like making up stories about me, like, oh, maybe he's a psychic like Carina, or he's like a brainwashed super soldier or something like that. And the teachers are they want me to go to the counselor on a regular basis, and it just they try to get me to open up and like spend more time with the other students and stuff, but I'm not interested. They're being the typical teachers towards a sort of reclusive student.
All right. And Benjen always goes with the flow, apparently. What about you?
Sometimes to his detriment. I think I think their perception of Benjen today is perhaps one where I don't know. I guess some of maybe I would imagine that they review some of the previous fights or whatnot that took place, and I think that like though really Mars is way more skilled and as a pilot, like it seems like the replays that people are studying are the ones that like my blade is doing, just because for whatever reason it's just flashier and cooler looking. So that ends up on screens and being studied in some of these situations, and I'm just like not necessarily in love with that, but it's what's happening.
Jeez, competition already. So yeah, Mars, how do you feel about that? I guess on top of that as well.
Yeah, Benjen and I'll have words later, maybe even in our blades, or like during while we're mounted. I'm not trying to say like combat, but I think the school kind of props us up as mascots, and is that a euphemism? I think Mars doesn't realize he's making a euphemism. Yeah, I think the school kind of props us up as mascots, and Mars loves it. Like I said, he's like a validation whore. So he's like, oh, people are looking at us, people are like applauding us for saving the world. Oh, great, love it. This is where I want to be.
Yeah, I think it even comes up during homeroom as Miss Crawford is kind of saying like, yes, and not to take your physics class, although I've heard that they'll have to rewrite the physics textbook to a 4th edition thanks to the discoveries we found due to all the outsiders that are being taken out by our Hilts over here. And she's very pleased that her homeroom, out of all the other homerooms in this school, has the now dubbed Noble Blades of the Garden. And she's not gonna like call it out, but she's just like she's pleased as punch as she's going to homeroom. So like she's not. Yeah, Blades of. Oh wow. Well, look, talk amongst yourselves. That you're the Hilts here. So yeah, so I think homeroom passes off relatively uneventful. Like again, now that we've established that you're the kings and queens of this school, apparently. So again, as this game goes, it is just mostly like you all want to frame something, unless I'll throw something at y'all. But like, remember, there's like those prompts. If you frame a scene around those prompts, you get a link. We have like 20 minutes, so we'll say like maybe at least 2 more scenes. I do want to get Carina to at least do a roll, see if she can contribute to this clock. Actually, yeah. If anyone has seen anyone frame, because like we've had interactions with like the 4 of you in a box and 2 each. So yeah. All right, well, go ahead, Mars. If you, yeah, jump ahead, jump on. Yeah, if you got an idea, shout it out.
I don't know, steal the spotlight. But yeah, I would like to have a scene with Benjen. Maybe like just after homeroom or just before lunch, sometime during the school day, where we can like I can like, I don't know, talk to him at the locker or something.
That's cool.
Yeah, maybe it's just at your locker, Benjen. I think Mars will come up and I think like lean against the locker, like looking like uncomfortably, like I know how do you stand in front of somebody, and like shifting his backpack, and he's like, Benjen, I mean, you could have told me, like it didn't have to be like a secret. I mean,
Could have told you. Wait.
I mean, I know we like.
You noticed those words that we had earlier. Me and Rain. It's just that what he said, it just pissed me off. It shook me. Like, hold on. Wait. You don't think we're a thing, do you? It's not like that.
I mean, Benjen, it's pretty obvious. Like,
no, it's not. He just said some stuff and called me a bully, and I'm pissed at him. I mean, I'm pissed at me. I can't really blame him for it.
Oh, so like Mars will like lean it a little closer. He's like, so you're not dating Rain?
No, but it's just definitely not.
Hey, do you remember that time last summer when we were at the park on Island 3, whatever?
I'm just gonna I remember it, but I'm gonna like kind of reach my hand like it's gonna move towards you, but it's actually grabbing the locker, and I'm gonna shut it. And I remember, and just kind of like get out of there.
Oh, you leave it
Excuse
cold?
me. Yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
like deeply. I think I'm like deeply embarrassed because I think that was in the hallway. I'm feeling like I think I like. As you walk away, I'm gonna turn towards the locker and just like try not to face out, like as my face turns red from rejection.
Does this sound like stay out of it? Benjen's trying to avoid. Do you think?
Okay, the move, stay out of it.
Yeah.
I think so for sure. I mean, like I think it's partially like it's not competitive or anything for him. It's just like Benjen's just really fickle and doesn't know what he wants at any given time.
Oh. God, these people. Roll plus ego.
Okay. At this point, I'm surprised my ego isn't a higher level. Okay, so sorry, the screen froze. Am I still? You guys can still hear me, right? Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I got 10. So.
Hey, so yeah, you don't have to get involved. So yeah, you pull off this rejection.
This is one of the things I'm good at, apparently. Just breaking.
We're really just playing Monster Hearts in a Mecha skin.
Yeah, pretty much. I think I want to add salt to Mars's rejection. I think I know you don't like your fan club, but I think Mars, you can see this as Benjen's walking away. He's kind of like confronted by like 2 to 3 folks who are kind of asking, "Oh, Benjen, when are you gonna pull off like your next like art installation?" And one of them's like, "Oh, I really love like the holographic butterflies you did. They were just so fab." And Mars, you can see all this.
I guess I talk, and then I'm just like engaging with them much quicker than like you have a chance to react.
I'm really like gonna slam a locker. I'm like, those butterflies weren't that good. They didn't even look like real butterflies.
They were techno butterflies.
Yeah, whatever, Benjen. Why don't you just go draw more like dream monsters or whatever? Maybe that should be your next installation.
And I'm like, oh shit. Like I'm not supposed to do that. That's bullying. Like an internal dialogue there.
Yeah, I'm trying to like express myself and like.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, yeah. You're externalizing your feelings without reflecting on that.
I'm not embarrassed. You're embarrassed.
Yeah. Well, I am embarrassed about earlier, but that was Rain that caused me to gave me pause. So reminding me of my embarrassment earlier has some effect where I'm like I'm like, yeah, shit, and I'm gonna kind of like also like tell these fans to be like, oh, I gotta go to my next class, and just brush them off with a little shame on inside. So.
Oh, man.
What was it? Roll plus id.
Does that mean
Yeah.
no? That's steering. Okay.
I'm not going to express myself. I got a 7 to 9. I'm realizing now I may have written this move strangely. If I blame a PC, they choose one. Oh, I see. Okay, no, I got it right.
All right, so Benjen, actually, before you leave, you got to choose one of these two. You can either escalate the moment, so the both of you will gain a link and strain a level, or you can interject and try to calm down Mars.
Those are the only options. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I would calm him. I would try to calm him down because I'm realizing that like this the introspective from Rain earlier that I could be like less of a dick is like kind of hit me close to home. So I'm like, hey, look, let's pretty sure we have the next class together. Let's just go. Like,
You got a choice then, Mars. You can either accept what they say or reject what they say.
No, I'm rejecting that. Yeah, Benjen, walk by yourself. I'm not even gonna sit by you. And we're doing all this in the hallway. No, I'm over it. So embarrassing. I'm gonna storm off like the long way. I'm gonna take the other hallway and walk all the way around the building to the class.
What did you guys make out?
It was the heat of the moment,
yeah.
The fake beach we were at was beautiful.
Okay, so what happens there is, unfortunately, Benjen, you're gonna have to strain a level.
I do? Okay, because you rejected it.
Yeah.
So that means it goes up. I think it's gonna be ego. Like my ego is hurt.
All right, put an
Right?
X in
Because
there.
that was pretty overt.
Yeah. And I think Mars, you get a link.
Or even I think it makes more sense for super ego. I'm sorry, I'm like talking over you.
No worries, no worries.
Super ego, because like my sense of right and wrong is hurt.
And Mars, you framed the scene about you making out, so you get a link. Oh, you don't?
Oh,
Yeah, you framed the scene, right?
Yeah, got it. I thought you were talking about from the express yourself. But yes.
No, you chose to be petulant.
My
So.
duty.
All right. So I think we have time for at least one more scene.
So yeah, I was hoping like I think after class create the homeroom, Carina will go check on Rain. Cause yeah, the commute and then it didn't seem like Benjen and Rain talking went anywhere good. And then she kind of feels bad that she might have sicked Mars on Benjen in that roundabout way. Because she forgot for a split moment that he can be very jealous. So, Rain, would you go to like class immediately, or would you like cover at homeroom?
I think Rain is very slow in getting his things together to go to the next class. So
Okay, so I think yeah, so she comes over and like kind of like nudges your shoulder like, hey,
hey,
you okay?
just tired and yeah, Benjen and Mars, just got. There's just they're
They don't
Yeah.
understand. They don't. I mean, I hope they never really understand, because that would mean another really major attack. But not that you have to not that I'm giving them any. I'm not trying to pardon them or anything, but they really just don't understand what it's like.
Yeah, I know.
But
I
hopefully,
just,
maybe they can learn.
well, I guess. It just makes me mad. I mean, I'm here for a reason,
Yeah.
and it feels like Mars is just here so he can be cool at being a blade pilot, hilt, and Benjen just doesn't give a shit.
Yeah. I mean,
But I know you've seen same things I have. I remember.
and when you say that, like, she kind of like holds herself and like tugs down on her sleeves a bit. Sad that you remember such a traumatic event.
I remember you being there.
And she kind of gives like a little bit of a shy smile, like, "You sure it was me?"
I don't know. Maybe just my mind playing tricks on me. It does that. But if it was you, I never got to thank you.
For saving you?
Yeah.
I mean, that's what people should do. They should save others if they can. But I am glad you're here.
So am I sometimes.
And Karina nods, like, I have those same feelings. Like, sometimes I'm glad I'm here.
This sounds like a make a connection roll from you, Carina.
Ooh, okay.
They just roll up.
Oh.
You are totally going out of your way to make a squad mate feel like they're part of the squad.
And it's just 2d6, correct?
Yep.
8.
All right. So on a 7 to 9, so you choose. You can either give them a link or you gain a link.
I'll give them a link.
Ah, makes sense. Hey, Rain gets a link. Do you have like last things to say to like close the scene?
No, at least Karina doesn't. She kind of like subconsciously just walks him to his next class, like as if protecting him.
Yeah. Yeah. Just Rain will just go along. And just not say anything, but just like
All right. Glad we can end on a scene of people being nice. I think those kids are gonna be all right. We'll see. All right, so I'm gonna stop the broadcast. We'll do like the brief off it, but thanks so much. You people are ridiculous and really cool. Just want to say that out loud so that that's caught on podcast. Yeah.
You're more ridiculous, Leandro.
Yeah, I barely did anything today. Okay, we'll talk about that broadcast. More dragging of myself. Anyway, I'll stop this. If you like, if anyone's watching this till the end, watch a lot of other stuff. There's links down below for more cool stuff. But yeah, thanks for my players. Thanks for anyone watching. Goodbye, YouTube.